Okay, I told a guy I would make, well, I told a couple people I'd make a video going over the 110s. I'm not very good at making videos, so I'm going to do my best. I got these cases split. I'm going to throw in an HD output shaft or anything 08 or newer. Is good to go unless it's broken. I guess Kawasaki fixed this problem. I guess the oil hole in the center or whatever is too thin or too big, and it's the part itself is too thin, so it'll break. I'm gonna put an HD output shaft in that, and the BBR one comes with first gear already on it. I have a 55mm stroker crank coming. It should be here tomorrow. Or wait, no, this is the output shaft, my bad. That was one of the gear sets. There's a lot you can do to these. I'm gonna, the stroker crank, and the biggest bore you can do without boring the cases is a 43mm. Without boring the, let me see, you can see that, yeah. Without boring the crankcase, which I'm not too sure how I'm going to go about that yet. See if I can have my dad machine it down or line bore it. I mean, and I mean my stock crank was good to go. It's solid. I mean, there's no up and down play at all. Hardly any side to side play. A little bit of side to side play isn't bad. It's usually just how it is. But I mean, if it's, you know, you can usually tell pretty easily if you need to replace your crank. And then what else is there? Oh, the 2000, the first models, I think it's 2002 or 2003. I think it's 2002. When they first started making the KLX, the first year, those cranks are super weak. I mean, they can't handle any mods at all. I mean, you can't do any boards or nothing. They'll freaking break. I mean, they'll break. At least that's what some people say. I haven't personally experienced that. I'm going to put the 55mm stroker crank in here, and I want to do the 78cc bore, or no, 178cc, my bad. It's 67mm. But I have to bore or line bore the crankcase, so I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to put a V2 race head and the 4th gear shift drum. There's hardly any videos on YouTube over exactly how to do this. I mean, some people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then the next thing you know, they got their motor back together and they might show a video of them running it. Oh, and as far as splitting the cases, I probably shouldn't talk about that too much, because if I do, people will be unhappy with the way I do it. But really, you are better off just getting a case splitter and a flywheel puller. I did it without a flywheel puller or a case splitter. I made a crude flywheel puller out of just a piece of metal and drilled 2 holes in it. I don't know what I did with it though. But I mean, you can use your head and figure out exactly what you want to do. And a lot of common problems people have, like, let me grab some more parts. I don't Now what you can see in my bucket, angle this a bit more. This is my little brother's auto clutch out of his 110. We did the TB manual clutch kit because it deletes, or you can, if you buy the, what is it, KSR or whatever, the Taiwan or whatever 110s, like they're like Groms almost. I don't know what they are, but if you buy those kits, that's all it is. But it doesn't come. It just comes with a washer and this stays on here. And I think they claim an 8-pound weight savings off the crank with the primary drive gear or whatever that they have. So this is machined off, and it does. His bike revs super quick. It sounds like a big bike. It's sweet. So I'm going to do that too. But a lot of people have problems kicking their bikes, and it's slipping. They think they broke their output shaft. They think their clutch plates are slipping. They need heavier duty springs. They need better plates or whatever. No, usually that's not the problem. The problem is your auto clutch is just one-way bearings too. Right here, this bearing inside of the. It's a pain to get in and out of there. Mainly to get in there, it's a pain. Those do go bad. I replaced that, but really, it's going to wear this more than this is going to go bad. The bearing itself, and these will just get worn. I mean, you can see the. And I'll grab mine, and I'll compare that. His. Oh yeah, his is freaking grooved out bad. I mean, it's sharp, and you can see the difference in the pad life. Well, his was slipping real bad, and he thought he had all kinds of problems. I said, just buy that kit. What, Bria? Okay, I will. I'm making a video. Hold on. Yeah, so as soon as he bought that manual clutch kit, it fixed the problem immediately. It's cool. It comes with an extra shift lever. I've never seen something like that before. It's cool. But the other one, he used the other one. And he ordered a new one of these. This is brand new from Rocky Mountain. Didn't even use that. Yeah, this is the spacer that you can get that just to eliminate your auto clutch, but they send that primary drive gear, so you don't need this. But they give this if you want to keep, almost like the TRX 250s, where you can use the clutch, but you don't have to use the clutch. It's just there. Which really, it's dumb. Why leave that much weight on the crank? What else is there? And a lot of people, why they say you need to update or upgrade your clutches is because from the factory, these only have 4 springs, but you can put 5 springs in here. So you can get BBR, whatever brand it is. They'll send you 6 springs, and I'm not sure. I think when my brother got them, they didn't come with the bolts, so we had to find bolts. But that's no big deal. I mean, but usually it's that retarded auto clutch. It just gets worn out from beating on it and sitting there idling in gear. It gets worn out. Another problem I hear people having is, where they're wondering if something's messed up, is for their shift linkage, where it sets this portion knocks. It's got to be behind the shift drum. Where did I put the shift drum? Oh geez, lots of parts. Yeah, it seems like you go on forums like Thumper Talk. Thumper Talk's really good to go into if you just want to look at stuff. But yeah, this little plate right here, a lot of people have problems with that whenever it's in the bike. Yeah, it'd be like this. It's got to be behind that, and it'll pop out, and you'll think something's all messed up, but it's not. It just sits there, and you just got to make sure that is behind that. That's a common problem I see people having. And you got to split your cases if you want. If you got an older bike, I think after 2010 and up, you already have the fourth gear unlocked. You already have the shift drum, but it's still neutral first, second, third, fourth, and a lot of people still change it to where it's first neutral, second. It's kind of like a big bike. You got to split your cases for that. You have to obviously split your cases for the crank. I mean, I've seen on forums where people have asked. I mean, I don't know what goes through people's heads. Like, do I have to split the cases to put a 55mm crank in there? I mean, obviously, but everybody's at that point where they have to learn whatever level they're at. What are some more common problems? I don't know. These motors are bulletproof. I mean, you can throw a lot at them. I'm hoping to build like a 190 with a good head setup. Mainly because I want to rip harder than my brother. He talks a lot of shit. Ooh. What else is there? I think that's it. I will make a video of me putting this back together and showing the orientation of exactly how the gear set's going. If anybody has a motor torn apart and they're trying to figure out how to go, because there really isn't a lot of videos of people going into detail about these motors, and I really wish there was, because when I was learning and trying to figure this stuff out, I had to read and read and read. I mean, I've read certain forums probably more times than I should have, just because I didn't remember that I already read. I mean, I could just sit there all night and scan through them forums. I like doing that kind of stuff, though. And I'll make a video of that, of me putting the crank in and putting the gear sets and everything back in and putting the shift drum in, just so people can see how that's all done.